Okie dokes. All right, so this is produced 2D drawing for building design projects using CAD software. Okay. Is everyone on this? Is everyone able to access this? I think I've loaded all of you. Okay. Anyone having a problem? All good? Okay. All right. General rule, please, no phones. Okay. If you need to take a phone call, please tell me before the class starts, so that I'm aware and it doesn't distract anything. Okay. I think it's just courtesy. Right. Okay, so a bit of jargon in the beginning, as you are aware of, just kind of an introductory to produce 2D drawings about CAD there. You can see this information is a little bit dated. I am in the process of updating the Learn site. Okay, so again, you are aware that at the bottom here, most courses have tabs or tiles in a grid format. You'll see that there's not many tabs here, but don't be fooled, they're quite dense once you open them up. All right. So let's just start in the beginning here before you start. You'll see that there is a learning program. Okay. It would be good to just keep a note of this in terms of what is required and how I will be taking you through from week to week. All right, so if I just open that all up there, we are in the introduction week, okay. This part here in practice exercises, we'll do this if we've got time towards the end of the class. If not, we will start it with next class, okay. You'll see that in the first 4 or 3 weeks, we will just be looking at all the different command keys or function keys on the interface. And then you will start with your task 1, which is diving into your floor plan. All right, I'm going to take you through that and showing you the set of drawings that you will be completing for the end of the semester. So this duration starts now until the 7th of December. That is your due date that you have to submit everything by, okay? So, sorry, it says here due the Friday, the 30th of November. You can resubmit, but that's it. And it has to be done by the 7th, okay? All right. So you'll see that there is 1.1, 1.2, etc. That is the criteria that we have to meet. So there is a link to why we have to go through all of this so that you can be compliant and be able to get your certificate for this course. You'll see that there will be floor plans. So we'll look at a general floor plan. We'll go through hatching, dimensioning, roof outline, carry on with that, and then we're going to wall section, elevations, roof framing plan, electrical plan, so on and so forth, site plan, and then there's your end date. Okay, so it's not one assessment submit. We will be looking and seeing how you go along or how you're traveling, but generally this will be all submitted for the end. But don't leave it to the last minute. I mean, that's why you're here in class, so that we'll be working through it. So it's not going to be like stressing you out to be able to do this in your personal time, okay? That's why we're here in class, okay? So it is pretty straightforward with what is required of you. So just to go back. Oh, I've gone right out now. Okay. Let's just go back into there. There is an application for an extension if required. Personally, I'm hoping that's not going to be the case. So you only have one try to utilize this, this application for an extension, and that has to be submitted at least a week before the 30th. All right, and there must be a reason or a really valid, what can I say, situation. Okay, so there is your compliance. Oh, that's a horrible noise. Okay. All right, so here we go. So this is your software for home. So other than being in class, you can also download this to your PC or Mac. Preferably PC is more applicable. Okay, so over here you will have a PDF, the AutoCAD Educational Software for Home. I utilized, I went through this and it was pretty straightforward. You'll see that there's extra information provided. They've simplified the what can I say, the download now. So it's just literally getting your key and registering. Okay, so that's what it looks like there. And you can just go through that. So it's literally got all the tabs, etc. Oh, golly. Okay. It's important that you download the 2018 AutoCAD, not the 2019. They are in the process of doing that, but we are in the current year. So AutoCAD releases a new version every year. Okay. Make sure that your computer is also the right, or has the right storage capacity, because AutoCAD is quite a large program. Perfect. Okay. Learning resource. You can purchase this online. This is the latest one through Ascent, where it has every new aspect associated with AutoCAD to be described, and icons, shortcuts, etc. It is quite a great guide to have, but it's not necessary for you going out and paying for it. If you want to, I think it's around about $65, okay, for this manual. And you can either get it as an ebook or an actual hard copy. But there is so much out there now with YouTube, so there's a lot of YouTube videos. So if you even type like how to explode something, then there should be a YouTube video with that. And I mean, we will be touching on that in class too. Okay. All right, so let's go into here, which is the AutoCAD interface. All right. All right, so that's basically what it looks like. I'll pull up the version now, and we'll be discussing all the tools, functions, etc. to help you be able to produce 2D drawings. Okay, and we can actually look at this sample over here in a little while. Okay. So I'm just going to pull up AutoCAD now. Okay. If you want to, you can follow me. So if you go into your drop-down menu on your computer, which is your Windows tab there, drop down AutoCAD 2018 English, drop down to AutoCAD 2018. Do you have that? Okay. Okay, before I get into that, it's also really good that you bring a USB or some external drive, because what you do here in class, save it, and so that you can actually then, if you want to carry on at home, etc., or it's just a good idea to back up your work. I find that with AutoCAD, what does happen is that there might be a glitch in the system for some unknown reason, and you must try and get into that habit of trying to save your work as much as possible. And I'll show you the quick access tool for saving, and just to keep practicing that. It is programmed to do every 10 minutes to save your work, but just from previous experience, I did a whole lot of work, and there was a glitch in the system, and I didn't do quick save enough, and I lost that work, and I literally had to redo that. So it's very frustrating when you've accomplished quite a bit and you have to kind of repeat yourself, a bit annoying in that sense. Okay, so you'll see that when you open AutoCAD, you'll come to a Start tab. So this is a File tab along here, all right? Can you all see that? Okay. And at the bottom, you'll see that there's Learn and Create. So we are in the Create panel because we're going to it's assuming that we're going to start drawing something. So of course here it says Start Drawing. You can either open an existing template. These are previous plans that were done, and so they're there. So it's also a quick access tool where you can just literally click onto that and it will draw it up, if you can see. Okay. Can you guys see there? Sorry, I'm in front of you. Are you sure you're right there?
Yeah.
Okay. Right. Then below here, I found this useful to AutoCAD, is the Learn. If you click on that, that's some introductory tutorials where the creators of AutoCAD have done tutorials to kind of take you through the interface. So that's also really nice, and also discussing new additions to AutoCAD 2018. Okay, so there we go. What's new? Get started videos. I found these to be quite helpful. So let's go back to Create. All right. Perfect. Let's go into our drawing. Do you have one that's, just click on that little plus sign then, it'll open up a new drawing. So if you've got one here, it will just open many drawings. So it's drawing 2, so I don't want drawing 2, I'm just going to do drawing 1. Okay, so everyone there? Okay. So this is called the interface, or the AutoCAD interface. You'll see that this is black space, or I call it infinity, because it really represents real life. There's enough space, or this is actually called model space. This is where you start your drawings, and if you had time, you could actually, they say, draw the whole solar system. So it's drawing real life. So if I'm drawing, as you know, we draw in millimeters. So if we are doing 1 meter, it literally is representing 1 meter, okay? So it's a scale of 1 to 1, okay? So if you look down here, you'll see that we're in model space, where my cursor is. Can you see there? Okay. Layout 1, layout 2, that is applicable when we are going to actually plot or print this drawing that we've created in model space, okay? So then that's when we can scale the drawing, and you can actually then print out a 3, a 0, you name it. So in your one, you can be able to get something like that. You know what I mean? So you can actually print it out to the scale, so that it is then 5 times smaller or 50 times smaller. So 1 to 50, etc., 1 to 100. Okay. So let's start at the top. This button here is called your application menu, all right? If you just click on that little arrow there, you'll see there's a drop-down menu, which actually represents some of the functions which we saw on the Start tab, okay? So this would be good when you finished your drawing for the session and you want to save it to either the student hard drive or to your USB or to a personal file on the hard drive, etc., or to the cloud, okay? So new, This is if we are working with an existing template provided by TAFE SA. So ACAD ISO, that is the one that you would probably be using there to get started, okay? But don't do that now. At the moment, we're just going to be drawing in a drawing file. Okay, so that allows you to open things, save things, etc. Okay, so again, drop down. What I do find useful is that you see this button here, it says options. If you click on that, that's what's new to AutoCAD. You'll see that the display function, so the second tab, you'll see that the interface can be changed to light or dark. Preferably, I prefer dark. And most architects or people in industry will be able to say the same. So keep it on dark. It represents your colors of your lines better when you start identifying line weights, okay? When you create that in layers, okay? The other thing that's important, and you can change this, but at home, I'm not saying here because this is the TAFE computers. Open and Save tab. If you click there, you'll see that there is a automatic save 10 minutes between saves. All right, so that is set at that. Okay. So I'm just trying to see if there's anything else that I'm needing. New open saves, save as. Later on, we'll look at import and export. That's to do with printing and working in paper space. All right. Okay, this part up here is known as your quick access toolbar. If I click on that, all the things that I have ticked is showing in that bar at the top. All right, and that's important because there's your undo button if you need to undo something, your save as, and that's the important one, is that you need to get used to pressing that one quite a bit. Save. So there's your save button. So initially you just have to save the drawing and then keep pressing that. It won't bring this up all the time though. Okay. So from there, we're going to be looking at, before I get into the ribbons, which is here, or the ribbon, sorry, I'm going to go up here. At the top here, if you have downloaded your AutoCAD, your desktop AutoCAD 2018 at home, it will bring your name up there because you've registered to it. So it will actually say Robin Rudd or Michael, for instance. And then if you really want to get technical, there's also stay connected with the AutoCAD online community, which is then you can actually sync it to your phone, etc. So they're actually quite with it in terms of being AutoCAD. So over here, this is also your, I call it your, let's just start here quickly. That is help. So if I click on that little question mark, if there's anything that you are looking for that you can't find, so say for instance, you're trying to look for the command line, type in line, and it will actually bring that up for you and many functions of what line can achieve. So if I look at erase, just say, type erase in, to restore the last erased object, it brings you a whole lot of anything to do with the word erase comes up and you can take it from there. Okay. Okay. So this part here, as I told you, is your drawing area or the AutoCAD this whole thing's called the AutoCAD interface, but it's seen as model space. Then if you go down below here, this is your command line, all right? This shows you what either your last command was that you did on your drawing or what is to do next. So it will say specify line point, which you do. Then it will say what's your next line point, which is your end of your line, Okay, so you'll see, I'll take you through that. Over here, this is known as the Cartesian coordinates or space. We are working with the axis X and Y because we're working in 2D. I'm sure you were introduced to that in Rivet where you actually had a Z where it was 3D. All right. So because this is a 2D program, we're only going to be looking at X and Y. AutoCAD does have a 3D option, but we're not exploring that. So X will always be known as your first coordinate. So if you're drawing a line and you're wanting it to be a certain length, it will always pick up X first. Then you could always add in a Y, which then means up or down. So X can be positive, so it goes in an anti-clockwise way. So if I draw, let's just click on here. So if I draw a line, if I hold my cursor there, and you see in the command line down here, it says line specify first point. So you just click anywhere, okay? Those are called hairlines or commands. You can also see what's been written as your next thing to do. So it says they specify next point. So if I drag it that way, okay, can you see that my line is pretty loose? I don't have any restriction on it, okay? So if I pull it that way and I leave it there, the highlighted blue part tells me what is the length. What is the length that I'm wanting to draw it at? So let's just say that I want to draw it at 1,000 millimeters, so 1 meter. Enter. That will draw a line at 1 meter. And I've pulled the cursor to the right, meaning that that is the way I want the line to be drawn. Okay, do you see that? If I pull it up, then I can do the same. It's going in the y-axis now, and that's still seen as positive. So it goes positive to the right. So X is positive, Y upwards is seen as positive. If you're wanting to draw backwards or to the left, you see it as a negative coordinate. So negative 1,000, if you type that in, it would go the opposite direction. Okay. Then with the, if you pull your cursor either down or negative Y, you can add that in and that will put that coordinate in. Does that make sense? Okay. So there's a positive, and you can actually see if I'm drawing this line, do you see how it's showing my angles? So that is 90 degrees, that there is 180, that there is 270, and back to 360. So you can see it goes in an anti-clockwise way. Okay. So later on it can get technical when you're doing an angle. You can actually type the angle, the coordinates and the angle in. Okay, but we won't touch on that now. I'm just telling you a bit about that. All right, two functions that I find very helpful on my keyboard is the escape key. So you'll see there's a whole lot of commands at the bottom there. And I'm wanting to get out of this now because this is irritating me, just say, and I'm wanting to exit this. Press escape. So if you keep pressing escape, you'll see that it keeps saying there, cancel, cancel, cancel. Okay. So if all else fails and you want to just start again or want to get out of what you were doing, just press escape, escape, escape. Your line will still be there, or your last command will still be there of what you've drawn, but it allows you now to wait for your next command that you're wanting to put in. So for instance, I'm wanting to draw a polyline. So there, 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 there. Okay, so I'm happy with that, but now I want to close it. All right, so I'm trying to see where that is. So there's little green blocks that appear on certain points on your line, and that allows you to actually connect the two lines together. Okay, so you can either do it that way, right, by clicking, or by just simply saying, down here it says, yeah, P line specify next point A, C, H, L, U, or W. I'm wanting to close this object. So if I press down here and I click there and I go C, oh, it didn't do it. Let's do polyline again. PL. And I go down here and I go C. Oh, what is it doing now? C, enter, and it closes that object. Okay. So there's a lot of repeat options, either by icons, shorthand, or functions. It's what makes you feel most comfortable in doing. Okay. When I started AutoCAD, originally, I actually just utilized the icons just so that I could familiarize myself with the interface. All right. It is a longer process. As you get more comfortable, so you will be able to do shorthand. Okay. All right. So the other version, or the other key that's important that on your keyboard. So I talked about escape. The other one is to repeat a command. So for instance, if I'm wanting to repeat the previous command, I've just copied a circle or just copied an object, and I want to do it again, I press enter. Okay. So if I go enter, immediately it picks up my last command that I was busy with. Do you see that? So enter spacebar repeats the previous command that you actually did. Escape cancels everything out. Okay. There's also undo buttons here. So you can just go to the icon undo. So that actually undoes the whole thing. All right. You're right with that? Okay, any questions thus far? No? Okay. All right, so let's just carry on. It's also important to know that with drawing lines, these influence the command draw, these icons down here. But we'll get to that. I just want to talk about then the functions here. So if you look at ribbon, this is a ribbon, this part here. Ribbons consist of tabs. So that's the one that you're going to use the most is the home tab, which is broken up into panels. So this is the panel draw, this is the panel modify, annotation, layers, block, etc. All right? You will be mostly using, to start off with, is the draw functions. So that these are seen as tools or functions within the draw panel. Okay. So if you hover over the line and you leave it long enough, it gives you a description of that function or tool. So you can actually see that it says there a line can create a series of continuous line segments. Okay. If I hover over polyline, it tells me that it's a complete object. So if I draw like the outer walls of a house, they will all be seen as a object, whereas line is seen as an individual start and end point, and then again a start and end point. So do you see the difference between line and polyline? Okay. Then you've got circles, you've got arcs, you even can make things a bit simpler by doing the rectangle, and you've got a little drop down one of a polygon. Okay, so if we look at just the polyline, you can actually see that it gives you the shortcut version at the bottom, PL or P line. So if you type in on here, so if I just hover over the space and I want to learn the shorthand version, don't click anything, just hover over here and type in PL. You'll see that it comes up in a drop-down menu of what does P stand for. So what are you wanting to do as your command? All right, so I want to draw a polyline. I can click on it, and then it's saying to me, where do you want to start your first point? So let's say there, and I'm going to drag it to my x-axis, and I want that to be a meter. And I want to carry on up by a meter. And I want to go this way to the right, a meter. And I can either hover over the end point or my start point to close the object, or I can, as I said to you, press the word C for close, or just hover over that and either right click or press enter or spacebar. Okay, and escape. And there you have your first object. So if I hover over it, do you see how it highlights? So if I click on it, do you see how there is all the grids coming up? So later on we'll look at pulling those all out, etc. But at the moment, that's showing that it's a complete object. Whereas if I choose line here, and I do the same, and let's just go down. If I hover over that one and I click on that, it's seen as individual objects. Okay, so that's the difference between the two functions. You'll find that you'll get more use out of using polyline. If you're wanting to erase, you can either just do that and press the erase button there. So that's modifying the draw tools. All right, and that's all gone. Okay. If you are wanting to, this is quite a helpful tool, especially when you're drawing your walls. This is offset. If I click on offset, and it says there, offset specify offset distance. So I'm wanting it to be 50. Enter, click, and pull it inside. All right, so that's making a repeat of what your object is at a certain distance inside or outside of that line of that object. Okay, you all right? All good? Okay. So as you can see, let's just look at these two objects here. We'll look at what is going on down here, which is quite helpful. Now there is a specific word for that. It's customizing the status bar. Okay, so this is your status bar where you have icons here, and you'll see this is the items that don't show words anymore from the version of 2014. Okay, so now they're just icons. You can customize it by selecting which ones you're wanting to do with the to modify the panels of draw, etc. So the ones that I've clicked on there, they're all represented in the status bar down here. Do you see that? And do you see how some of them are blue and some of them are still gray? If I toggle over that and I click on it, that will undo that function. If I click it, it shows me the snapping of that option. All right, you can also choose where do you want to connect your next lines to. So I've clicked on endpoint, midpoint, center. There's also intersection. I'm just going to unclick that one for now. And that's all there. This is tracking, ortho mode tracking. So if I'm wanting to draw a line, you'll see that certain points come up. So there is my endpoint of 2 lines, there's the midpoint of that line, and there's the other endpoint. All right, so that's why these help you with doing drawings quicker in your draw functions over here. And as we go along, we'll be exploring those options. Okay. You'll see that this becomes quite useful on the right-hand side of your screen. These are your viewing points. You'll see that we are in top view. You can also press north, south, west, or east. It does make then, those are really applicable for 3D CAD because then you're wanting to see it on elevations. Not elevation, sorry, when it's a 3D drawing and you can move the object around. Okay, but over here we've also got pan. So if I'm wanting to pan, I can move my screen and get to another part of my drawing. So if I press the little hand, I can move that drawing. All right. You can also use the ball on your mouse and press that down and hold it down and move that around. Okay, that's another version. Zoom, you can either move the ball of the mouse up or down. So forward motion means zooming in, back motion means zooming out. Okay, you can also do it here with the different zooms. So zoom extend means, so you can see that I've zoomed out. My drawing's quite far in the distance. If I do zoom extends, it brings it up to occupy the whole model space that is present. Okay. That's a navigation wheel. We won't get into that right now, but basically those two are quite vital, I find, or quite useful. All right, so we've discussed all these status bars here with understanding what's going on. Over here, you can also choose your view. So there you can actually see that if you don't have the navigation bar or icon there, it's also telling you what view you're in here at top. Okay, if I press that one there, I can divide my screen up into how many parts, and that's only utilized in layouts, but we'll get to that at a later stage. Okay, I think I'm going to just stop there and we're going to have a quick break and then we'll resume. So